This is Jim with Cashio's 360 Catering, and now I'm going to show you how to trim a rib roast, otherwise known as a ribeye. The first thing we want to do is, any stamps, we want to try to take it, and obviously I always have a short knife, and barely trim the stamp off. And any excess fat that's on the back side of the rib line. Again, we don't want to take too much of this stuff off. We're going to really lightly trim it. It is going to be a prime rib. Things I do, I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make is they don't trim enough fat off on any type of meat, and therefore when you season it, the season is getting to the fat and not so much onto the meat. And that just makes it not quite as flavorful as if you get kind of close to the meat if you can. Again, we don't want to trim too much, but I want to lightly trim a lot of this fat off there. Something that's important too, we want to kind of keep the fat in the pan. That way that's going to be our basting meat. It's going to make a nice little au jus for later on. So again, we want to keep all the trimmings. If you want a little bit more of a leaner prime rib, you can cut a little bit more of the fat off. I prefer to have a decent amount, but again, with the same assumption, as you can see, I left a lot of the meat showing. I like my seasoning to penetrate that meat, and I find if the seasoning is on the fat part of it, it doesn't really quite season up because most people aren't going to eat the fat. This is actually where the ribs were attached to the cow. I'm going to just lightly trim this up. Any kind of silk skin, you want to pull off all that silk skin. The nice thing about a rib roast is you really don't have to trim it up that much. The most important thing always about cutting meat or any kind of meat that you're preparing is always have a good sharp knife. That's very important. You just got to be very careful not to cut your finger. Oh my God! Oh, I'm just picking with you. But anyway, so a rib roast is actually cleaned pretty nice. And now we're ready to season it up.